And Viva Los Angelitos, and welcome to Halos in the Infield. My name is Fernando Mendez, joined here by somebody who's becoming a little bit more of a familiar face, Swilly of the TikTok universe.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for having me.
I was going to call her the queen of Angels TikTok, but I mean, hey, this is about to be 2023. If you want, you can be a king. We are nobody to say what you can.
You're not wrong. You are not wrong.
There you go. This is a progressive show, contrary to what some might say about me. And then we're joined here by Andrew Ciccarelli. His voice might be familiar. It's been a while since he's been on. Andrew, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. Yeah, I don't have a face today. Just a nameplate.
It's okay. You don't need to have a face today. It's like earning your wings. You gotta
Yeah,
earn
right.
your face again. The second time you come back on after the hiatus, you'll get your face back.
And you're like, maybe we'll put your audio in today. We might just cut you out. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. Everyone's dispensable. You know what they say. Definitely not what you want to say about people, but hey, who knows? So we're here to talk about the off season so far and what an off season it's been for, not only the Angels, but Major League Baseball, and talk about the pre-Christmas moves that have really moved the needle. We really won't talk about, moves like, the Pirates have made or even like the A's, but we'll talk about some of these bigger moves or maybe some of these teams that have yet to really make big impacts and, dive into all that and more. Before we get started with that, I just want to remind you guys, follow Halos in the Infield wherever you can find us on all social medias. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe on YouTube, all that boring, fun stuff, blah, 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 blah. Follow Swilly on her TikTok. I'm sure we'll talk about that throughout the episode. But all right, let's get started. So going all the way back to the beginning of November, the big move that happened was Edwin Diaz re-signing with the Mets, Clayton Kershaw going back to the Dodgers, were two of those big moves that really didn't surprise anybody. I know a lot of Angels fans wanted Edwin Diaz, but that was a pipe dream. He wasn't going to leave New York. I mean, there's no way he was ever going to leave New York.
Yeah, I agree. That yeah, absolutely not. That man was being identified with an instrument. Like, no, he wasn't leaving. Absolutely not.
Exactly. The lights are bright in New York for him. That's what he wants.
Yeah.
Exactly. He was originally what, in Oakland, eh?
Seattle Mariner.
Seattle Mariner. There you go. Okay. Yeah, and I mean, Seattle and New York could not be any different from each other. You're going from a very fair weather city in Seattle to, obviously one of the most recognizable teams in, professional sports.
Yeah, I'm surprised Seattle could get anyone. Aren't they the furthest flight from like any stadium in baseball?
Yeah, probably. Because I mean, what's the closest ballpark to them? Like San Francisco and Oakland?
Yeah, I think so.
Colorado, maybe?
That's pretty far.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I know there's been a lot of talk for years about a potential expansion with a potential expansion with God, what's it called? With Portland. I know that's always been something that's been discussed, but who knows?
Would Portland be a baseball city though? Maybe.
I don't know. Oregon or Maine?
Oh, Maine.
Oh, Maine, yeah. Maine, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, those East Coasters go crazy about their sports teams for sure.
They do.
But yeah, I mean, Portland, Oregon is a super chill town. I don't know if the hipster bros would like baseball. It's too barbaric.
Much too. Oh yes, baseball, so barbaric.
Exactly.
What a good adjective to describe it.
Yeah, I know. I mean, real quick, not to get too off topic, do you guys see an expansion happening in the next couple of years of any sort for Major League Baseball?
Expansion? I mean, I don't know. I probably not. I mean, I guess it depends on how soon you're talking. Teams moving, yeah, but an expansion, I don't know.
Yeah, that's a tough one. Manfred has been talking about Nashville for a while, right?
Yeah, Nashville.
Right.
They even had a what's it called? Investors in place. I don't know why it took me so long to say investors,
Yeah.
but yeah, they had investors in place, I think, for Nashville. I think even Billy Bean was one of them.
Yeah, I was going to say Billy Bean was part of that team.
Yeah, and obviously it didn't materialize into much. So
Yeah, the pandemic really killed that one. That was like right up into that, and then just really haven't heard anything since.
No.
yeah, so let's get back on topic here. So let's talk a little bit about some of the other moves. So the first big free agent move, if we're not counting qualifying offers, was the Angels signing Tyler Anderson. That was the first real domino of the MLB free agency period. And that's where he signed a 3-year deal at $39 million. It was funny because back then everybody was like, maybe Perry overpaid a little bit. But now that we've seen the way the offseason has progressed and we've seen these just super inflated contracts, I kind of realized that he actually got a bargain.
Yes, I agree. I mean, yeah. I mean, at the time, I even thought that it was still a pretty good deal. But I mean, yeah, after looking at some of these other ones, we got him for a steal, I think. I mean, what is it? 3 years, 39, right?
39 is, we're talking like what, 13.3 million a year?
Oh yeah,
Love it. Super stoked about it. I think it's great.
yeah. Compare that to Carlos Rondon.
Yeah, exactly. Who just signed today with the Yankees at the time of recording. So I mean, we'll get to that eventually. But I mean, yeah, that's a great. It was a great move. I mean, has Tyler Anderson been a little inconsistent during his career? Sure, absolutely. You know, are we paying him based off of one really good year with the Dodgers? Yeah, sure. But I mean, for 3 years, 13.3 million. I mean, I even if he's got like a 4.5 ERA, I think at 13.3 million for today's baseball, that's not bad.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I also just think he brings a certain attitude to the team that I really like. I think I've said this in the past before. I feel like we lack a little bit of oomph, and I feel like Tyler Anderson gives a little bit of oomph. So I was really excited when I heard about it. And then that puts us at a lefty heavy rotation as well.
Yeah, extremely lefty heavy with guys like, Reed Detmers, Patrick Sandoval, Tyler Anderson now, Jose Suarez, and then, you have guys like Kai Bush and Jonathan Diaz who are, either coming up every so often or, Kai Bush is right on the cusp.
Mm-hmm.
And, Jonathan Diaz just re-signed today on a minor league deal.
Yes.
So, he's another guy who's going to come up, make some spot starts for you here and there. But, once again, we are talking about a very, very lefty dominant rotation. But we'll see. A lot of people are saying Suarez is a trade chip, and he very well might be.
I mean, the Dodgers did pretty well with the lefty heavy rotation last year. When they win like 112 games.
And they got bounced in the first round.
Oh yeah,
best regular season team of the year.
Yeah, right. By your favorite team, Andrew, the Padres. The Padres did the unthinkable.
We should have Manny Machado hand them the trophy for best regular season team.
You should. The Mickey Mouse trophy?
Yeah.
Here you go.
And that should be a great trophy for the Angels to give with their Disney history.
Yes.
There you go. Yeah, right. I mean, hey, they're the only team to have a stadium designed by Walt Disney Imagineers. So, I mean, I'm just saying. I guess it was the redo of the stadium. It wasn't even the actual stadium.
So. I remember that on my Trivial Pursuit card. So, yeah.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, they had that the Imagineering story or whatever on Disney Plus. I remember watching it, and like one of the episodes they showed Angel Stadium for like 6 seconds, and I was like, "Hey!" It was like that meme with Leonardo DiCaprio where I'm like pointing at the screen. That was me. Yeah. Oh my god, I know that place.
Yes.
Oh, so after that, Anthony Rizzo rejoined the New York Yankees on a $17 million per year with a $6 million buyout after 2025. So what do you guys think about that? Were you guys surprised about Rizzo returning back to New York?
Not really.
Yes.
Not really.
Where else was he going to go? I feel like all of his home runs are on that porch.
Yeah, exactly. The really, really tight porch there is just perfect for any left-handed hitter.
Sure
or
is.
even righties. I mean, Judge likes to go oppo a lot, and it just it's such an advantage to play in the AL East in general But, especially if you're a Yankee all the time. It's a little harder now for the Orioles because they adjusted left field there.
Right.
But, yeah, I mean, the AL East is just historically a hitter's division.
Yep.
They just have those ballparks.
Oh, yeah.
Compared to the NL West or even the AL West where, you have bigger stadiums and it's a lot harder, especially back in the days when Petco Park really wasn't hitters friendly.
Oh yeah, that used to be like it was like a death if you just hit the ball in the air. But now that's kind of the AL West, right? With the new Ranger Stadium is pretty pitcher heavy.
Yeah, I've been there a handful of times. It's a really big stadium.
Yeah. It looks big.
Yeah, it looks like a giant Lowe's that they just hollowed out to make a baseball stadium. It's exactly what it looks like, it just feels empty inside. It's kind of hard to describe. It's honestly like Chase Field on steroids because it looks just like Chase Field from the outside, but a little newer, obviously. But it's almost the same skeleton. So if you've been to Chase Field, that's a comparison.
I don't know if that's a good thing.
I kind of like Chase Field. You don't like it, Andrew?
I guess I go to Petco, then I live over here by Chase Field, and I go there and I'm like, what is this?
Yeah.
Well,
fair.
compared to Petco, yeah, that makes sense.
Hey, I can't get a churro dog at Petco,
Well, that's true.
but I can pay $4 for a cheeseburger I can get down the street. An extra $4, I should say, for a cheeseburger I can get down the street. Don't get me wrong. It's cool to watch a baseball game and eat Ho-Dads, but I mean, that ballpark tax is heavy for sure.
It sure is.
But, one of the most underrated things about Angel Stadium, I don't think the food is that bad.
I don't think the food is that bad either. For lack of a better term, I get shit on whenever I say I like Angel Stadium.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah.
It feels like home. It's homey.
Right.
It's older. It's like grandma's house. You go there and you're like, hey, this is just nice. And you go to like a newer a baseball stadium and you're like, this is nice, but it's just nice. Petco Park is nice.
Right.
It doesn't feel homey. Like
yes, exactly.
Because the Padres are starting to win there. So, maybe it'll change. Once baseball stadiums start to like just develop this history, the stadium really starts to feel different. And that's one of the advantages that baseball has over these other sports. Like, with the exception of places like, Madison Square Garden, Soldier Field, there isn't a lot of like stadiums outside in different sports that really create that just truly historic feel. I don't want to hear anything about Staples Center because no, it doesn't, or whatever they call it.
Yeah.
Crypto.com arena.
Sure. Yeah. It just feels like a normal arena or whatever the heck they want to call it these days. So yeah, that's the advantage that baseball kind of always has. They have that built-in advantage of just history radiating from the building. And, it's the only sport where like what you did like 3 to 4 years ago might actually matter.
I agree.
Maybe I'm just crazy. But okay. So let's go back to talking about some of these bigger moves that took place. Teoscar Hernandez being traded. I mean, that was a pretty big move, and obviously that was an AL West impacting move.
Yes.
Nick Martinez going back to the Padres on a 3-year deal. Andrew, real quick, what do you think about that? I mean, was it nice to get him back in the bullpen?
Yeah, I like it. He's he's not gonna like knock your socks off or anything, but he's a really good solid signing.
Yeah, I mean, the Angels have kind of always been that team who likes to try to knock people's socks off. And teams like the Padres have proven that it's not always about getting the name, it's about getting the right names. And I've been saying that for, 2 off seasons. I want the Angels to get the right names for once. Yeah. But I mean, Nick Martinez going back to the Padres, and that's a solid move for them. Let me see. Isaiah Kiner-Falefa going back to the Yankees. And then the Angels made a trade for Gio Urshela from the Twins. And that was another big move as well because they gave away essentially Nobody. A guy named Alejandro Hidalgo, who was recently drafted. Who knows what he'll turn into, but we're once again talking about a guy who's 3 or 4 years away for 1 year of Joe Urshela, who is a, super utility infielder, and he will definitely provide some depth, let alone some good depth that the Angels haven't had. Andrew, you're an outsider looking in terms of, being not an Angels fan per se. So do you think that's a good move for the Angels? Is Gio or Urshela the depth piece that the Angels haven't had yet have needed?
Oh yeah, I mean, when you look at the Angels from the outside, it's like looking at like the reverse iceberg. Like all the big names are on top of the water, and then you
Yeah.
go underneath. There's like nothing there.
That's
Yeah.
a great analogy.
I remember watching MLB Network. It might have been last off season, and Matt Vasgersian, who calls foul balls or calls home runs as foul balls, had said something that actually made a lot of sense. He said it's never good when an organization has, you look at their spot track and it says, 36 million, 35 million, 30 million, arbitration, pre-arb. Like, you don't want to see that. That isn't the formula to many winning teams. You're not going to build a competitive team by having, as Andrew said, a reverse iceberg. You need you need your big names on top. You need your Mike Trout, your Shohei Ohtani's, your Manny Machado's, your Mookie Betts, you name it. You need that guy. Absolutely. You need a face. You need a guy who's going to represent your franchise in a healthy way on and off the field. But you also need support players. This isn't the baseball that our parents grew up watching, or even that we grew up watching as kids. You can't buy yourself a ring anymore. That's why the Yankees don't consistently win every year. And Dodger fans would be like, well, we win every year, but do you really? You don't win every year.
You get the runner-up prize.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. You get your second place or your participation trophy for just making it into the playoffs. But, find me a Dodger fan who would consider the last 10 years successful. They don't, because they've won one championship. You have to make the dance to win the title. But at the end of the day, what's the point of consistently making the dance if you could just never get over the hump? And speaking of the Dodgers not getting over the hump, they decided to give up on Cody Bellinger on November 18th, and they non-tendered his contract, thus making him a free agent, where he went on to sign with the Cubs, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm getting ahead of
For
myself.
13 mil.
There you go. Real quick,
that makes
Cody Bellinger, is he worth $13 million when he can't even hit his own body weight?
It's a lot. I don't know. I think it's a little bit. I don't want to say it's like a project pickup, because obviously he's proved that he is a good baseball player, but he just had such a bad year last year. So
Well,
I don't know
he's
if
off
they're,
a couple of bad years.
well, yeah, that's true. Last year was awful. Last year was so bad. So I don't know if they're just kind of banking on past success. But 13 mil is a lot more than I would have paid him.
Yeah, that's quite a bit. That's quite a bit. I hope now that he's a Cub that he turns around and hits 45 home runs and hits 300.
Me too. Yeah, I like him. I agree with that.
Although it's confirmed that Swilly would have ran out into center field to hug Cody Bellinger. Like
No,
that one girl did. You guys
I
remember
would
that?
not have. Oh,
Do you
trust
remember
me.
that?
Being in California, I'm around a lot of Dodgers fans. I am not. I like him. I don't like him.
Yeah, okay, that's fair. Yeah,
Promise.
there's like the Dodgers certainly have players who I enjoy watching play baseball. Like I was a fan of Corey Seager. Who doesn't like Clayton Kershaw? He's a good player. He's a good guy.
Agreed.
I liked watching Cody Bellinger play. When he was good.
Yep.
Justin Turner is a good guy, good baseball player. So it's tough because they have a lot of guys who I enjoy watching play baseball or did enjoy when they were on the team. But God, I hate the Dodgers.
100% agree.
Oh man, yeah, forget those guys. I don't know, can we cuss here or no?
Yeah, you can.
Yeah,
You say how you feel. There you go. So right after the Cody Bellinger release, the Angels were back in the news by getting Hunter Renfroe. And once again, didn't have to give up too much. They gave up Jansen Junk and Elvis Peguero. and minor league lefty Adam Samarians. So Jansen Junk came over in the Andrew Heaney trade. So I'm basically saying they traded Andrew Heaney for Hunter Renfroe. Hunter Renfroe's a guy who, while in San Diego, was part of the hot talent lava that I'm sure Andrew would love to tell you all about.
Oh my God.
But yeah, he was traded. He didn't last. He didn't get too much of an opportunity with the Padres. He was there for what, 2.5 years, 3 years?
Yeah, he kind of got like a cup of coffee and then got traded off to what was it, Boston?
Didn't he go somewhere before Boston?
I think so. No,
Did he go to Tampa? I think he went to Tampa for Tommy Pham.
Yeah, I think he went to Tampa, then he went to Boston, then Milwaukee.
Then Milwaukee.
And now with the Angels.
Yeah.
And he's going to be hitting free agency in theory next season. But Hunter Renfroe, for Angels fans who, haven't heard enough about him already, because, everyone's been covering Hunter Renfroe, he has a solid arm. One of the best arms in baseball. Problem was with his arm when he was with San Diego, he didn't have control of his arm strength. Seems like he's gotten that under control, and he's become a much better defender. He wasn't a strong defender at all with the Padres. He was always a power hitter. He's always a 30-homer threat. He'll probably be in the 25 ballpark, however, and he's going to bat about 250 to 260 for you. But you know what? That's a level of consistency the Angels haven't had in the outfield for a very long time. Andrew has said it before. The problem with the Angels is they literally need 0 WAR players at least to pair with Fletcher, Ohtani, Trout, and a healthy Rendon. If you literally have guys who produce a non-negative WAR, you're probably a playoff team with just those 3 or 4 Angels.
Yeah, I mean, that just shows just how bare the rest of the roster had been. But I mean, getting Renfroe, getting Gio in here, getting Tyler Anderson, those are 3 really solid big league players. They're going to add a lot of depth.
Absolutely. I mean, if we're being conservative and all 3 of those men have a healthy and even an average season, we're talking about easily 10 wins between those guys.
Love it.
Definitely. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
That's conservative. So,
Yeah.
and the 10 wins would make a big difference for the Angels. So after that, you have Carlos Santana, who's somehow still around, going to the Pittsburgh Pirates. That guy has just kind of been around forever.
Yeah, he keeps
He
getting
really
signed.
has been.
Has he had an OPS over 700 in 5 years?
That's a great question. I mean, it's the same kind of thing with Nelson Cruz. You know what I mean? Kind of the guy who's just still kind of hanging around there. They'll come in. They'll be an average piece for you. But, you don't bring Carlos Santana to take the world by storm. You bring him to fill a position, and that's exactly what the Pirates were doing with that 1-year, $6.7 million deal. Now, a move that surprised me was Mike Clevenger to the White Sox.
Yeah. Agreed. That one was kind of surprising to me, but I'll let Andrew talk about that one.
Oh, he fell apart so hard down the stretch for the Padres.
Yeah, he really did.
That postseason game was one of the worst things I've ever seen in my entire life.
Yeah, Padres fans turned on him very quickly after that. It was over. I literally, Reddit was just in shambles.
Yeah, they're close the door on their way out.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't think a lot of Padres fans wanted to see him back. I don't have it here on the ESPN thread. Does anyone know what he signed for? It's about 13 million, right? Or something like that.
Yeah, I think it was around there.
Let's see. I mean, either way, the guy hasn't had a solid couple years. It was $8 million. Actually, yeah, that was his adjusted. And then $12 million in 2024.
Okay.
So
that's the vested offer.
That's so close to Tyler Anderson for such a drop-off of performance.
It's the opposite, right? It's the opposite.
Exactly.
But, I mean, I don't know. I guess the White Sox make sense, but...
Yeah, the White Sox were kind of a disappointment last year, were they not? I mean, and they've kind of been a disappointment for the last half decade. We're talking about a team that, everyone's been waiting to make that next step, and they just haven't done it in a long time.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, this past year was rough because, they were so banged up I hope the White Sox are going to be one of those teams that they don't have to do much, and they should just be better next year anyways, because they just underperformed so bad. So I think any little changes, any little additions they can make are going to be cool, but what is happening?
We're on a plane.
What is
I have
happening?
no idea.
Dude,
For any
are
of
we
you
sitting
guys
first class
listening-
right now? What is this?
You guys are so short in those chairs.
I know, we're like little children. I don't understand.
For everybody who's listening on audio, we were just magically on an airplane.
It's like a background, but we're all sitting in airplane seats.
You guys look like toddlers.
We do. Look how high the seat is. You kidding me? That's so funny.
Hilarious. Okay. Jose Abreu going to the Houston Astros. Now, that was really the first move for me in the offseason that caused me mental pain. I was just, that was not a move that anybody saw coming, you know, especially because the Astros had a pretty decent amount of first base productivity last year.
Yeah, that one was really surprising.
Mhm.
I thought they were going to keep Gurriel, but Abreu is a great hitter.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, he's not that far from a MVP season, is he?
No, 2020. So just a couple of years ago.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, his drop off, he's definitely had a drop off. And
Yeah.
I mean, the guy is getting up there in age for sure. But
Yeah, but
he's
he
not
DHs and plays first, so
I can't get over the airplane, guys.
so funny.
That was hilarious. Should I put it back on the airplane?
I don't care.
I still see the airplane.
Oh, do you? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I still see it too.
That's what I'm looking at right now. I'm like trying to see who's talking. You guys are just on the plane.
Yeah, watch this on YouTube, everybody. You can see us on an
Definitely watch it on
airplane.
YouTube.
Swilly has a coffee in front of her. Yet she's drinking her water out of a
Yeah,
glass.
double fisting, you know.
There
Gotta
you
stay
go.
hydrated.
I don't know. I don't know what's up with these little desks in the front.
That is a massive laptop in front
Yeah, I
of
was
you.
gonna say
That is like, it's huge.
Yeah, right.
you look like Frodo Baggins right now. Like if he was using a laptop.
There you go. We're so far away from the bathroom, though. What if I need to go to the bathroom?
Yeah, that's a long ways away.
Yeah, right. Anybody listening on audio is definitely like, all right, well, we're gonna go listen to something else. We're gonna go listen to Podcast The Ride. I don't know.
You gotta watch it on YouTube to understand.
Yeah, only the cool kids know.
Yes.
Matthew Boyd, he was somebody who in the past has been rumored with the Angels. Like there was constant trade deadlines where I kept hearing, oh, Matthew Boyd's going to go to the Angels. It just kind of never happened. Kind of like Mike Moustakas to the Angels. Like that was just kind of the thing for years. Everyone's like, oh, he's going to be an Angel one day. And it just kind of never happened.
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, Matthew Boyd going back to the Tigers, not exactly surprising. Let's see. We'll skip ahead here. We'll skip.
Don't need another lefty anyways, so it's fine. I'm not
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
What?
upset about
I
that.
thought you wanted another lefty.
I want all lefties actually. No more right-handed pitchers.
There you go. Right-handers are old news.
That's
Yeah, teach Ohtani
exactly
to-
correct. Yes.
So now let's go to the beginning of December, and this was an earth-shattering move for a lot of people.
Yes.
Cy Young, two-time Cy Young Award winner Jacob deGrom, 5 years, $185 million. That's a massive contract for a guy who, let's be honest, doesn't pitch very much per season. Now, I don't think there's a single baseball fan who, really, really follows the sport that would argue Jacob deGrom, when healthy, best pitcher in baseball. I
Yeah,
mean, is there an
for
argument there?
No, I don't think so. Just 38 starts in the last 3 seasons.
Yeah.
Exactly. Well, how many did he have in 2020?
2020, he had 15 starts, or 12 starts in 2020. 2021, he had 15, and last year 11.
Okay, so I mean, did he miss any time then in 2020? Because it was 60 games.
Yeah, I think he. No, I don't think he missed any time, and he was healthy before then. He had 3 straight years of health, but.
Do you guys view it as an overpay because of the
Yes.
risk they're going to have to take?
I think it's an overpay. I mean, 5 years is so many years. I just for his history, that's a lot of years. I mean, I get it. I understand him taking that deal and being excited about
Oh
it.
yeah, yeah, of
Like that's
course.
a good nice you got 5 years like you're good, you know?
Yeah,
But
you're
that's a
getting
lot of
almost 40
years.
million a year, and there's a big difference between 37 million dollars in Texas and $37 million in New York.
That
Huge
is
difference.
also true.
I mean, you're going to a place where there's no state tax. So for somebody who makes as much money as him, I mean, the amount of money he'll be saving on taxes alone, I mean, that's life changing money for anybody.
Right.
Even somebody who already has a lot of money and has perfected his craft enough to obviously get to that point where he's signing this kind of contract. But in a mythical world where he's healthier for the next 5 years, we're going to be talking about this move like, man, what a move for the Rangers, because the Texas Rangers haven't been much of a threat to anybody since their World Series days. What was that?
Right.
2010 and 2011?
Yeah,
Yes.
over a decade.
Exactly. And, I'll say this as somebody who recently moved to that area. I mean, people there really love the Rangers. They really do. People in California tend to be very fair weather fans, but it's because there's so much more to do in California.
Yeah.
And, any California sports fan will agree, hey, if the Angels aren't good or the Padres or, Dodgers or Giants aren't good, whatever, we'll just go to the beach. You can't do that in Oakland because, the water's gross.
Okay.
But,
Yes.
and, they won't have a team much longer. But,
Oh.
the fact of the matter is that this is the type of move that you get fired for or you get praised for if you're the general manager for the Rangers, because it's a very high risk move because you're paying $37 million for a guy who hasn't been fully present for the last 3 years. And Jacob deGrom is a hell of an athlete and a hell of a competitor. And if he is healthy, he's going to win you some ball games. And maybe not this year because the Rangers are still currently rebuilding. But in 2 or 3 years, not only are the Rangers going to be good, but they're going to have a scary rotation with some of their prospects.
Yeah, DeGrom's only going to be 55.
Hey, I mean, he's still young as pool as well as when we signed him.
Oh man. Yeah, I don't know. It's such a big contract to me. And I mean, you also obviously he's going to make your rotation better, a lot better, and he's going to help your team win games, but you also have to hit the ball and score runs. So
Yeah,
there's
absolutely.
also that part of it too, Like the Rangers also have to perform behind him when he's on the mound in order to win games. So cuz he's not going to pitch a shutout every time. So
No, absolutely not. Oh, and I'm sorry, I wasn't laughing at what you were saying. I was every time I look over, I just start laughing hysterically.
I know.
Yeah, well, I can barely see you over the coffee cup.
I'm over here.
You guys just keep getting smaller.
Do we?
Now you're getting bigger, Fernando.
Yeah, I'm getting close to the camera. Okay, so afterward, the Angels made their first. Actually, they made the first move of the winter meetings, or was the Jacob deGrom during the winter meetings? It was right before, right?
Yeah, it was the day
Yeah,
before, I believe.
it was 2 days before because they
Yeah.
did that on the
Oh, yeah, 2
second, and
days.
I
Yep.
think the winter meeting started on the 4th.
Yep.
And then the Angels went ahead and signed Estevez, who was a lifelong Rocky, to a 2-year deal. I believe $13.5 million.
I will admit I do not know much about him. But I see last year he had a 3.47 ERA, 1.18 whip. So, I mean, if he's solid and he's consistent, then cool. I mean, we need bullpen help, so
He's a big guy.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. 6'6", 275.
Yeah.
Holy cow. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a big boy.
He throws really hard.
Yeah, and who knows? Maybe it is the Coors Field effect. I mean, he hasn't had a
Yeah.
horrible career considering the fact that he plays half his games in such an elevated ballpark.
No, I think he's gonna be great for you guys. He was one of those guys that as soon as he got away from Coors Field, he turned into a strikeout machine.
Mm.
So his stats are really misleading.
Yeah, I wish there was a stat that would take that into account, just playing in Coors Field and,
Yeah.
maybe adjust that to playing in a normal ballpark.
Yeah,
I'm sure there is somewhere in the deep depths of the internet, there's a stat that takes ballparks into consideration. I think there are, to be honest. But
Andrew found something that proved to me a couple years ago that Todd Helton would have been a Hall of Famer if he played for any team in any stadium.
Oh yeah, that's the neutralized batting stats. They have those for pitchers too.
Oh, do they?
Oh.
Okay, so yeah, that'd
Yeah.
be something definitely worth checking out then.
Yeah.
And Buddy Black is a very respected man around baseball. Obviously, he won the 2002 World Series with the Angels as the pitching coach. Went on to manage the Padres, and he's been with the Rockies for quite a few years. But he says that he believes that Estevez has what it takes to be a closer in Major League Baseball. And the Angels don't really have a formal closer. You can say what you want about Jimmy Herget. Jimmy Herget's service was a serviceable closer, but it'd be nice to really, really have some stability back there. Now, if that ends up being Herget, then great. At that point, he probably earned the gig. But, I'm okay with giving Estevez a nod back there and give him a chance. And, I mean, $13.5 million for 2 years, that's a very respectable deal for a pitcher of his caliber.
yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, sorry.
No, you're good.
I was going to say, I think he's a steal. Watching him play against the Padres, it sucked.
It makes sense. I mean, he's right-handed too.
He is, yeah.
Nice
We don't like that.
balance, right? I mean,
we don't like that.
Yeah. Listen, I'm trying to be a, level-headed, trying to see both sides here.
No, he needs to be a
Balance.
lefty. Lefty or nothing. Speaking of lefties, Clayton Kershaw going back to the Dodgers, 1 year, $20 million. At this point, he's going to be a lifelong Dodger. I've kind of been under the perception that, maybe eventually he'll go back home to Dallas, and play for the Rangers. I know a lot of baseball fans might have been thinking that too. It's been brought up before. But no, the guy's going to be a lifelong Dodger at this point. I mean, why wouldn't he at this point?
I agree.
Justin Verlander to the Mets. Now, that had me shook. I did not expect that at all, especially not for 2 years and $86 million. All I can say is Billy Epler loves old pitchers.
Yes, he does. I mean, 86. Oh my God.
Yeah.
It's so much money. I mean, listen, I get it. It's Justin Verlander. I understand. But, oh my God. And I mean, I guess if you're going to replace DeGrom with somebody, Justin Verlander's not a bad option. But
no.
What a
especially
price
not
tag.
after the year he had last year. I mean, he begrudgingly won a Cy Young award.
Yeah.
I think that, he deserved the Cy Young award. But, I do think Ohtani should have at least gotten a top 3 vote there. Andrew, be unbiased with me. Should Ohtani have been in there in the top 3 for Cy Young? Be honest.
Yeah, I would say he was right on the cusp of like a top 3. He just didn't have enough innings.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Rotation.
Which, speaking of that, it's been announced that he's going to be pitching every 5th start now. So we'll get more Ohtani innings this year, which I think is a great move, and I think we should have done it by now already. But so if there's like a rest day in between, he'll still pitch
on that 5th day.
On that on that 6th day.
On that 6th day, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy's a stud, man. The guy's a true workhorse. Like, I don't think anybody works as hard as this man does. I mean, he is just an incredible athlete.
Yes.
Yeah. What do you think? What do you think it would take to re-sign him now with this off-season market?
I don't even want to know. I don't. Honestly, I don't even think we can wrap our head around the type of number it might take. It's really weird to think about because, typically Japanese people are typically not money motivated.
Right.
It's all about, respect and everything. And that's just how the culture is. So I don't know. I've been saying for years, I don't think Ohtani is very money motivated, but who knows now?
Yeah.
I think there was a story came out that he said he wanted to be the highest paid baseball player.
I mean, I don't think that's unfeasible, especially if he has another great year. I mean, here's the thing that would be so hard. If the guy's like, I want $100 million per year, like, what do you say? Like, no, nobody's ever gotten that. Nobody deserves that. Well, I mean, nobody's ever done what I've done. I'm
Right.
the most talented baseball player to ever live.
Right.
Okay, I mean, what are you going to tell him? You can't disagree.
Yeah.
I guess if you give him like Carlos Correa years but you make it $41 million a year, that would be $533 million.
But halfway through that contract, is he still going to be pitching and hitting?
No, 0%. No.
I mean, that's
No
the
way.
thing. Like, the AAV is one thing, but even the length of the contract, like you're not going to be getting 2022 Shohei Ohtani in 2027.
Yeah, if it was up to me, I'd be giving Ohtani a 2-year deal with a 3-year option, and then just try to make a team-friendly deal for the first year. So, like, if he were to sign it, at the beginning of 2023, I would give him what was he promised this year? $30 million?
I think 32 and a half.
Yeah. And then, maybe try to get the second year, you're going to obviously have to pump it up to probably like the 40s.
Yeah.
And then the third year on that option, make it something incredibly high. Because you want to try to incentivize him to be here during his prime. I want Ohtani here, but to be honest, after you're 32 or 33, I don't mind you walking away because let's be honest, you're not going to be worth, as much in terms of WAR and to the team in theory. If anybody can break that, it's probably Ohtani because, I mean, as of right now, there literally is no limit to what this man can do. But, Father Time is undefeated. Don't believe me. Ask Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, LeBron James. Those guys are now finally starting to catch up to Father Time.
Yeah. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
No, I was just, oh shit, what was I going to even say? Go ahead while I think about what I was going to say.
Would you go 6 years, $300 million for Ohtani?
6 years, $300 million. Okay, is there any opt-outs?
No opt-out. 6 years, just straight $300 million.
Full no trade clause.
Full no trade clause.
Am I able to backload the contract?
So what? $80 million a year? Yeah.
Well, I mean, we're talking what, 50?
Yeah.
That'd be 50, yeah.
50 million a year.
While you sit on that, I think, unfortunately, it's going to take a contract like that to keep him. Yeah, logically speaking, 3-4 years. But somebody like the fucking New York Mets, they're going to be willing to spend invest 6, 7, 8 years into this guy, especially with the way the market is right now. So I think it's going to take a contract like that to keep him.
I'm going to say no. I'm gonna say no, and Angels fans are gonna hate me. I mean, guys, can you guys imagine having a payroll of, just with Trout, Ohtani, and Rendon alone? I mean, geez, we're talking what, $140 million?
Yeah. I would say
like that.
Yeah, that's a lot. I mean,
100, yeah, because I mean, what Rendon makes 36?
If you get the Golden State owner though, and he's just always over the cap, that won't matter anymore. It'll be like, oh yeah, we can sink Ohtani not playing at all. It won't matter.
Oh man, a girl can dream.
Yeah, like that. Like I mean, all the Padre fans are still getting used to having an owner that just is willing to spend and going to the negative.
Yeah, you guys, the Padres have one of the higher payrolls right now in baseball. I think it's top 3 where we currently sit.
Yep.
Yeah, like 252.
That's crazy.
There you go. Yeah, definitely a much different time than it was 10 years ago for the Padres when they were trotting out guys like, Ryan Schimpf and Chase Headley. Now, he was 2012.
There was a time when Jed Jericho had the largest extension of Padres history.
I remember that.
It was like $24 million.
Yeah, there was a time before that where it was Chase Headley.
Yeah.
Well, look at you now.
All grown up.
I know.
Yeah, right?
Must be nice.
So speaking of big deals, Trey Turner going to the Phillies was a big one. 11 years, $300 million. How do we feel about that one?
I mean, the landing spot I think most people kind of expected him to go to Philly. I was not surprised. I mean, you're going to find a common theme with me, ladies and gentlemen. I think it's a long contract. But I mean, he brings a lot to the table in terms of like postseason experience, things like that. So
Absolutely.
And the Phillies need to make a bigger push if they want to try to win a World Series, and I think that that's a good guy to have on your side.
Yeah, I just think unfortunately, I mean, once you start talking about contracts that are longer than really like 7 years, you're definitely talking about a dude who's not going to perform.
Yeah.
He's going to give you 3, 4, 5 solid years, and then afterward, you're paying for hopefully the ring you already won.
Right.
You're just going to be making down payment, past payments on that, because that's really you're going all in at that point, and you see it with the Carlos Correa deal, which I know we'll touch on, but yeah, I mean, he turned down more money with the Padres, correct?
Yeah, 11 years, 340 million.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, there's just some sick individuals who prefer the East Coast. Clearly, he's one of them. So hey, more power to him. Either way, it's not like he's $40 million in the grand scheme of things when you're already making $300 million. What's an extra $40 million to be happy?
Yeah, you got to go to the tax haven of Philadelphia, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe he just really likes cheesesteaks.
Yeah, right.
And he hates fish tacos.
Oh,
There
And
you
the
go.
sun.
right.
There you
Just needs
go.
good weather and
Yeah.
happiness.
Yes.
He
And
hates-
also, don't get me wrong, too. I'm looking at his baseball reference page. He has a career 302 batting average. The man is very good at baseball. So I understand, but I do agree. I think, 7 years down the road, especially as a middle infielder.
Oh yeah. No,
Like-
he'll have to move positions at some point. I mean, I don't think he'll be a shortstop for the next 11 years.
Exactly. Yep.
Okay, we'll skip over some of these smaller moves here that were made. I mean, Josh Bell go to the Guardians was probably one that might have hurt Andrew's feelings. Andrew Heaney going to the Rangers, 2 years, $25 million. That was a bit surprising. We already talked about the Cody Bellinger one. Outfielder Mitch Haniger going to the Giants, and that was, I believe, the day that they announced the. That was the day they announced the Aaron Judge signing, right?
Arson Judge. Was
Arson
it that
Judge.
day? Or was it the day
December
after?
6th was Arson Judge.
Arson Judge.
Yeah, because the next day he signed with the Yankees. So yeah, he was a Giant for all of like 6 minutes.
Yes.
As
Literally 6
literally
minutes.
social media just went bonkers.
Yeah. That was a wild time.
Yeah,
Good
good
times.
times.
I can only imagine. I mean, as a Padre fan, I remember when we also got, what's his name? Max Scherzer for like 2 minutes.
Yeah,
No,
that was
I-
a, that was a
Oh my
good time
God,
for you.
yes. I forgot about that.
And then he went to literally the only team you probably didn't want to see him on.
It's the Dodgers.
Yes.
Yeah, not only that, but they also got Trey Turner. So I mean, it was
Yeah,
talk
at the
about
same
like a
time.
bigger FU. Actually, sorry, Padres fans. Not only are you not getting the pitcher you wanted, but the Dodgers are getting him, and they're getting a good shortstop.
Oh, that man. I can't even imagine.
That was such a double slap right there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. It totally gives off the energy of Steve Harvey when he was like, "Sorry, the winners actually Miss Philippines."
Oh my God, yes.
And they had to take the crown off
Forgot
her
about that
head.
too.
They just yanked it from her.
Yeah, exactly. So that was kind of what the Giants had for 6 minutes when Arson was on their team.
Oh man.
Yeah, talk about a low point. This is why you don't trust guys who get paid a lot of money to cover dying publications.
Yeah. Yes. Although, as a Giants fan, I would not be upset about Mitch Haniger being in my outfield now. I think it's a great deal, and
I would have been a lot more excited knowing that we were going to have Arson and Mitch.
Yeah, right.
well, sure, but as we will discuss later, you got money to put somewhere else, so
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
true. That's true.
yeah.
Taiwan Walker went to the Phillies on another big deal. Did I cover the Mitch Haniger price? It was 3 years, $43.5 million. Anyway,
Yes.
yeah, Taiwan Walker went to the Phillies because the Phillies weren't done. 4 years, $72 million. Once again, I think a little bit of an overpay. Taiwan
Yep.
Walker is a credible pitcher, but I don't know. I don't know if I would have paid that much for him, but I digress. And then we get to the big news of Aaron Judge, who was obviously the big fish in the pond this offseason, signing a 9-year, $360 million deal. Apparently, he turned down larger contract from the Giants and also the Padres.
Yep.
Yeah, the commissioner's office was going to cancel the contract if it got signed. That was
By the Padres?
Yeah, because it was a 14-year, $430 million contract, and they were saying it was to get around the luxury tax.
Oh, I thought the one that they offered him was 10 for 400, or was that the Giants?
No, yeah, it was 10 for 400, and then that was the initial offer, and then it came out just a couple days ago that it was a 14-year, 430, and that actually got close. He flew out for it, and the commissioner's office was like, no.
Whoa, that's crazy. I didn't even know that.
I mean, could you guys imagine a world where the Padres have, Tatis, Soto,
Oh, God.
Manny
Not
Machado,
fair.
Hassan Kim,
Codes.
I can imagine.
Cronenworth, it's just Tatis. I mean, Jesus, you talk about a MLB The Show franchise.
Yeah, literally.
But I mean, he gave some BS about how his legacy was worth more than the money, which, I guess I'll give him kudos for. I like Aaron Judge or Arson Judge a lot, if I'm really being honest with you. He's a great baseball player. Seems like a great guy. I guess we should be happy that there's a baseball player out there who chose staying home, quote unquote. He's actually from Elk Grove, California, but whatever, over going to a higher bidder. Because for instance, look at a guy like Manny Machado when he signed with the Padres. Everybody knew back then it was all about the money. Even Padres fans were like, he's just here for the money. But the Padres eventually built a winner around him, and I don't even know if Manny Machado saw that coming. Sure, maybe with the hot talent lava, but that never materialized because they were all traded to get these guys that we've already mentioned 2 minutes ago. But
Right.
Judge decided to stay in New York. I was a little surprised. I legitimately thought he was going to leave. I mean, the way he was talking all season about, oh yeah, don't worry, tell those kids that there's other great Yankees, and I thought he was a goner. I really did.
So did I. I for sure thought he was going to San Francisco. That was my big offseason prediction, was Judge to the Giants. But you know what? He betted on himself this past offseason, and it paid off pretty freaking well. So I say good for him, and he's going to be loved over there for so long.
Yeah, the complete opposite of guys like Lamar Jackson, who bet on themselves and it didn't pan out. Andrew, were you surprised by Arson?
Oh, yeah, he should just change his name to Arson. That's so much better than Aaron.
I agree.
Man, I mean, there's something about being Yankees are one of the only teams where you can say it's like a legacy thing,
Yeah.
Like if you're an all-time great Yankee, you're just set for life.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, my dad was the one who said, because he also thought Judge was gone. He had said, players when I was growing up didn't leave the Yankees unless they didn't want you anymore. But guys, stuck around. Jorge Posada, Andy Pettitte, Mariano Rivera, obviously Jeter, A-Rod once he finally got over there. These are guys that went to New York and stayed in New York. For the longest time, it was true. Yankees go there, they perform, and they stayed there until it was time for them to retire. So, the fact that Aaron Judge even considered leaving the Yankees, whether it was serious or not, or it was just a negotiation tactic, I mean, that's a big deal. And that would have really, really changed the landscape of Major League Baseball. I really wanted him to leave because I really wanted to flip the bird to the Yankees. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. So he's going to stick around there for a long time in that overpopulated, disgusting city. And, it is what it is. Jose Quintana, our old friend, went to the Mets on a 2-year, $26 million contract. Kenley Jensen to the Red Sox. Wilson Contreras, apparently the Angels were in on him by some reports that we've seen now. But he ended up going to the highest bidder, which was the Cardinals, at 5 years, $87.5 million. I really want to know what a contract with the Angels would have looked like. I don't think it would have been a long deal. It probably would have been like a 1 or 2 year deal. Higher AAV was my guess.
Yeah, I agree. I don't. This makes me so mad. Literally the Cubs could have traded him in the offseason and actually got something in return, but they let him walk to St. Louis. Like,
Yeah,
it
literally,
made me so mad. Like, I
one team
don't
probably didn't want to
understand the
go to.
thought process.
Yeah,
I don't understand. But yeah, a year or two would have been cool, I think. I mean, I don't know. We're hearing really good things about Logan O'Hoppe, so I think they're kind of maybe trying to bank on him a little bit. And that's maybe why they didn't want to do more than a year or two. But you know what? Good for St. Louis. That's their new guy. Yachty's out. Contreras is in. The Cubs, what are you doing? I don't understand.
Yeah, if you're not going to keep these guys around, you have to trade them and chop them and get
Yeah.
something for them because, yeah, that doesn't make your team better. And even better, now you got to face him, multiple
Yeah.
times and see his face for the next 5 years playing for, your biggest rival.
Don't get it.
Masataka Yoshida, the high on base percentage guy from the Nippon Professional Baseball League in Japan, signed with the Red Sox. I don't know about you guys, but there might have been some collusion there. I mean, he literally signed after being posted for 12 hours?
Yeah, that was quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, 5 years, 90 million. Like I said, I think it was a little sketchy. Maybe MLB should look into that, but whatever.
We'll see.
And then another thing that was sketchy. Xander Bogaerts going to the Padres. 11 years, $280 million. Tiptoeing around the luxury tax again, right? Not a massive contract. It is in terms of years, but I think that's a fair deal.
Yeah, I mean that's definitely I know I was reading the Fangraphs article. They're looking at that as a more of an 8-year, $280 million contract and kind of 3 years void type of situation.
You think he would retire at the end, or they would just buy him out?
I think you can keep him on the bench and just keep paying him.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. Come out, blow kisses to the fans, sign some babies' foreheads, and that's what you do for these last 3 years, Xander. Thanks for our World Series.
Yeah. Yeah. This definitely seems like if I have to pick a deal that seems logical between all of the elite shortstops, this is probably the one. Although still 11 years to me because he's 31.
Oh, he's 30.
30.
Yeah,
He's gonna
he'll
be
be
30.
41. I mean, this, dare I say, is a team-friendly contract. I mean, at $25.5 million a year, that's a lot more team-friendly than some of these other deals are.
Yes. Agreed.
Yeah, I had no idea this was going to happen. I'm ecstatic.
I
got
bet.
all the shortstops.
Yeah, everyone. I still really, really want the Angels to get Ha-Seong Kim, but you keep telling me that the Padres don't want to trade him. I mean,
We need a shortstop.
let me make you an offer, Andrew. You let me know yay or nay and why. Okay. Jose Suarez, Luis Rengifo, Chase Silseth. And I want Ha-Seong Kim and, probably a first base prospect.
I don't know if we have a first base prospect.
I'm gonna look.
Any of them.
Because I think the Angels might need some help at first base here, depending on how Walsh does after his injury. And, we know the organization is not sold on Jared Walsh at the current moment. So
I think, Kim, we got him for 2 more years at $7 million a year. And
Wow.
he was worth 5 wins above replacement last year. So, I mean, I don't know if we trade him really for anyone because we still need to keep the payroll somewhat down. Maybe we don't. Maybe we just keep spending.
yeah, right. Salary cap's a social
Empty the
construct
bank
anyway.
Yeah, that's what the owner said. He loves spending money because he can't take it with him.
Yeah, there you go. Nathan Martorella is your only top first base prospect, and he's ranked 30. So he was drafted in 2022, 5th round.
You can have him. Yeah, take him.
Well, thank you.
You're like, I don't even know who he
Nice
is. Yeah, I mean, besides that, Jackson Merrill, he looks pretty cool. He looks like he could be pretty good from what I'm seeing here.
Yeah, what I'm reading says he's going to be ranked in the top 10 next year.
Yeah, he was your first round pick last year. So
yeah, so he looks like the real deal. So he's another shortstop that's going to come up, be on the team soon.
but not a really big deal like Franmil Reyes was.
Oh man, I would bring him back just on the bench. I love that guy. He has San Diego tattooed on his heart.
Does he?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, probably because
Aw.
that was the team that gave him an opportunity, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay, so speaking of guys with an opportunity, as we trend here near the end, Kodai Senga going to the Mets, 5 years, $75 million. I know a lot of Angels fans really wanted Kodai Senga, and to be honest, at $15 million a year, I would have taken that contract, especially given these mega deals we've seen this year. 5 years at 75 doesn't seem crazy.
Yeah, I mean, he's also never pitched in a Major League Baseball game, but he seems very talented. So, yeah, I know a lot of Angel fans were very heavy on us signing him, but
I will say this: a lot of pitchers who come over from Japan have a much easier time transitioning from uh, Japanese baseball to MLB baseball. Yes, the laces and all that are a little different, but once
Sure.
they get the hang of that, they tend to adjust pretty well. Where the biggest issue is normally with hitters. A lot of Japanese hitters come to the major leagues and struggle mightily. I mean, there was
Right.
the guy who signed with the Reds 3 or 4 years ago, and he was the top home run hitter for quite a few years in Japan. Came over and just didn't do well. He didn't really get to play much with the Reds. He signed a minor league deal with the Padres, and he just kind of fizzled into irrelevance.
Yeah, it's like a 50% drop off in power.
Wow, that bad?
It's pretty
I
crazy.
didn't know that.
But yeah, it's very common for a lot of pitchers to come up here from Japan and have respectable careers.
Sure.
Maybe not Hall of Fame careers, but have some very respectable careers. I mean, obviously Otani Tanaka is one of them. Dice K is just a couple of the guys who automatically come to mind. I mean, even Akinari Otsuka came over and was pretty good. They might not be franchise changing players right away, but look at a guy like Yu Darvish. Came up strong, struggled a little bit near the middle of his career, and then he's had 2 respectable years with the Padres.
Yep.
So yeah, I would have taken that gamble though for $15 million a year. I mean, look at Tyler Anderson. I mean, he's a gamble too. I mean, he's got a career over ERA over 4. Yeah, he's pitched in the majors before, but hey, Senga was very, very good in Japan, and for $15 million, especially right now with these massive contracts. I mean, look at Chris Bassett, 3 years, $63 million.
Yeah.
Do you
a
think
good
Tyler
point.
Anderson is like hitting himself right now? Like maybe I should have like waited a little longer.
Yeah, he did not bet on himself.
No, he just
He definitely didn't.
The complete opposite of bet on yourself. He's like, I'm taking the money, bros.
Yeah, he took 3 years over the qualifying offer, which was more. I think it was like 16.5 million.
I think it was almost 19. It's like what, 18.3?
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
it was raised up this year. He had to, man.
It's going to be raised up for the next couple of years. But, once again, now I feel like if you take the qualifying offer like Jock Peterson did, now that's betting on yourself. Because if you have a great season, who knows? If you have a bad season, it's over. You're not getting that big contract you wanted. You just kind of, shut yourself in the foot.
Yeah, that's true. Tyler Anderson, he's only made $15.9 million in his career. So he's 39's got to look. He's like, I'm set for life,
Yeah, that's true. Mike Zunino going to the Guardians on a 1-year, $6 million deal. The Guardians lost their catcher, Austin Hedges. I believe he's still a free agent. Ross Stripling going to the Giants, 2 years, $25 million. And now we get to the final really big splash, and that was Carlos Correa, 13 years, $350 million. Super long contract. 13 years is insane.
Oh, man. Can that guy even stay on the field?
For real.
13 years is literally, think about where you'll be in 13 years.
Well, I mean, even like when we signed Trout at 12 years, I was like, that's a long time. 13 years seems astronomical to me.
I will be 40.
Yeah.
I will be 40 when Carlos Correa is a free agent. In
Oh
theory.
shit. Same, actually.
There you go.
I'm all laughing and it's the same. That's so
It's going to be
sad.
depressing when you get there.
Hey,
You're going to be like, oh, back when I was younger, Carlos Correa was on the Giants.
I remember him signing with the Giants like it was yesterday.
Yeah. I remember Roger Lodge riding his bike down Catella like it was yesterday.
Not Roger Lodge, please.
Yeah, right.
Oh man.
So, I mean, when you guys heard about that deal, what did you guys think? My first reaction was why? Like Carlos Correa, top, I don't know. Is he the best shortstop in baseball? He's definitely in the discussion, but I don't know if he's the best shortstop. But I will say, anybody for 13 years, you are definitely hoping you win at least 2 or 3 World Series rings because that contract's going to suck for like 60% of it.
That is your face of the franchise, baby. Like that is your dude, which, Carlos Correa being your dude, I don't know. It's an interesting character to be your dude, but
not only is he your dude, but he is the dude for like all time.
yeah.
We're saying like when you want this guy to be Mr. Giant. Now, yeah, he's going to be making $26 million a year because there's so many years in there that the AAV is not super high in comparison. But the point here is like you're expecting this guy to be your Willie Mays, your Barry Bonds.
Yeah.
You need this guy to be Mr. Giant if you're keeping him around for 13 years. Because if he doesn't do much or bring you a title those first 5 or 6 years, it's going to be really hard to explain to your kids in a couple years why this guy's still in a uniform.
I mean, they're not going to be kids anymore because of how long the contract is.
Yeah, that's son, I remember I brought you your first Giants game when he made his debut that opening day. Now you've got a beard.
Oh my gosh.
Here's Manscaped. Use it, son.
His last season, the most likely MVP winner is a 14-year-old kid right now.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh man. I mean, even just like comparing it, like I said, to Trout's contract, it's like, okay, he won Rookie of the Year. He's a 2-time All-Star.
Yep.
He's won a World Series.
He's won 2.
Two World Series.
One, yeah, because he was not.
One. He was Minnesota last year. And so it's like, I don't know. It's a lot. But again, hey, if that's your face of the franchise, if that's your dude, go build around him, go do the thing. Like,
Hey, he bet on himself last year when he went to Minnesota.
Yeah.
Clearly it paid off.
It's turning out to be 14 years, 380 million.
Yes,
yeah,
pretty much.
Wonder what
I saw somebody on, I think it was Twitter. I don't remember. Somebody said he likes to jump. He jumped from one LA rivalry to the other, which was funny. Houston Angels and then Giants Dodgers. He's gonna get booed up a storm when he goes to Dodger Stadium, and I can't wait.
I'm here for it.
I am here for it.
That's gonna be amazing.
It's gonna be so spicy. I love it.
Well, especially because like the Dodgers were rumored with Carlos Correa for a while. You know what I mean? Like there was a lot of people who were like, okay, yeah, hey, they're losing Trey Turner. He might go to the Dodgers. Speaking of the Dodgers, they did make a move on December 14th. They signed Noah Syndergaard.
When did the Dodgers become like garbage can crawlers?
Well, right now, everyone in the world saying, well, they're just saving up for Shohei Ohtani.
Oh, make it stop.
Yeah, that's what they keep saying. So I guess we'll see. And now we're really scraping the bottom of the barrel here. Brad Boxberger to the Cubs. The Orioles signed Adam Frazier, Padres legend.
Oh, amazing.
One move that would hurt Angels fans, Michael Lorenzen signing a 1-year deal with the Tigers. And last but not least, at the time of this recording, Carlos Rodon going to the New York Yankees on a 6-year, $162 million deal.
Well.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, good for them. I wouldn't want him at that price.
Yeah, no, I would not either. I mean, what he pitched a no hitter, fantastic.
Oh yeah, he
Yeah.
did, didn't
Some
Yeah,
of
for the
these
White Sox.
contracts are just confusing. It seems like so much money to me. I mean, again, hey, good for the Yankees, but which Angels fans were saying they wanted him, but that literally would have put us at 5 lefty starters, so it just didn't really make a lot of sense.
Yeah,
But
we would have needed a sixth at that point.
yeah, yes.
he?
So I just, good for them. I would not have signed him at that much money.
Yeah, sorry, Otani, you can't pitch anymore. You're on a lefty.
Yeah.
Otani's like, I just picked him with my left hand. He could probably
Yeah,
do it.
but-
Yeah.
2.6
Lefties
ERA.
only.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, that's definitely an overpay for Carlos Rodon. But I was talking to one of my buddies who's a professional baseball player. I won't out him, but I'm sure everyone could probably figure it out. And we were texting back and forth, and I was just telling him, like, dude, like, these baseball contracts are getting crazy. Like, at some point, this bubble has to pop. These contracts are getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And, once the bubble gets big enough, it's going to explode. And we're going to be like, what the hell happened? Because, like, these contracts are just getting so unsustainable. I mean, clearly, I understand there's money in sports. I'm not an idiot. I get it that these organizations are making money hand over fist. But it's just crazy to think that we've seen a $13 million deal. I mean, we would have seen Trevor Bauer make, like, what, $40 million this year? But he got suspended.
It looks like he's got that appeal coming up that looks like he's gonna win.
That means he'll be getting, what, 2 years of salary against the Dodgers?
Yeah, all of a sudden they're gonna be back over the luxury tax line.
Yeah, exactly.
So no more Otani.
Yeah, well, hopefully that happens. I might be cheering for Trevor Bauer all of a sudden.
Me too.
Okay, so real quick, so I know there's a lot to unpack there, and we've already been recording for a while, but let's talk about like the winners and losers so far. Give me your big winner so far, and give me your big loser. Let's start off with Swilly.
Ooh. Big winner, big loser. One team that I am a little surprised hasn't been doing more would be Baltimore. They haven't really done much. I know they signed Adam Frazier, I guess, but they haven't really done much to me, or done much in my eyes for me. I think that some of these teams are just spending so much money, which does that make them a loser? I guess we'll find out as the season goes along. Big winner. I mean, I really think that Philly is in a good spot to go back to the World Series next year. So maybe the Phillies. I don't know. That's a tough question, and I need to look at things for a little bit longer.
Fair enough.
But I like
Those
the
are good
Phillies.
answers.
Yeah.
Andrew?
My big winners are Aaron Judge and Carlos Correa. I mean, Judge obviously bet on himself and got an extra $160 million. Correa, he signed until the 22nd century. I mean, and he's another guy that bet on himself. He took the shorter term deal, didn't like what he got, and then just signed, bigger than a Bryce Harper contract. And he's not the player that Bryce Harper is. So, and then, for teams, I'm going to agree with you. The Phillies definitely. They brought in Walker. They brought in Trey Turner. They needed a shortstop. They needed more pitching. That looks like a team that's going to be really set up to compete for the next 3 or 4 years. Historically, they haven't been a good franchise. So I feel for them as a Padre fan. So it's always nice to see teams really turn that corner. Big losers. I agree with you on the Orioles. They made all that talk about they're going to open up the pocketbooks. They're going to do all these things. And then they bring in Adam Frazier.
Adam Frazier.
There you go.
And Kyle Gibson, right? I think he was other one.
Yes.
Yeah, 2 big names. Great, good job, guys.
There you go. Those are the franchise altering moves. We're back on course, boys. Throw a flag on the ship.
And this is me as an outsider. I think the Angels are a winner because they needed depth, and you bring in Tyler Anderson, you bring in Hunter Renfroe. Hunter Renfroe is very much like Mitch Haniger, and you get him for some leftover pieces. You bring in Gio, who's been one of the better infielders actually in baseball, as far as like that super utility role for 3 or 4 years now. That's exactly what the team needed.
Yeah,
That's
I
really
would have
nice.
agreed with you a little bit more, maybe like a month ago. But as soon as the winter meeting started and the rest of the league heated up,
Yeah.
it seems like everyone in the division got better, and we're still kind of standing pat. I mean, I'd be lying to you if I didn't think the Angels have like at least another move in them. I think it's going to be a trade. I think Perry has to get a shortstop. I don't think they've found their shortstop. Who's it going to be? I don't know, but that's why Perry gets paid the big bucks. We're just here to talk about it and have a couple thousand people listen. But I agree. Philadelphia is the winner so far. They've made two moves that directly benefit and give them what they needed. Taijuan Walker is a good replacement for Noah Syndergaard. Obviously Trey Turner is one of the best shortstops in baseball. He will be here for the next 3-4 years. And then once again, just like everyone else we've really talked about today, near the end of that contract, you're going to have some explaining to do to your fans. But if you have a couple rings, look at Tom Brady. If you have so many rings, your hands are uncomfortable because they're so heavy. Then hey, it doesn't matter what you're paying him. Nobody will even ask the question,
right?
Because you won your rings and you're a genius, not a jackass. Dave Dombrowski is really good at building winning teams. Say what you want about what he does to get those winners. Find me a fan in sports who wouldn't trade sucking for 5 years to win 2 or 3 rings.
Yeah.
Look at the Angels. They've sucked for like 10 years, really. I mean, you take 2014 out of the mix, they've sucked since 2010. But if we would have won a ring in like 2014, I would have been okay with, 2 more losing seasons. I would have been like, whatever. We have 2 rings now, guys.
I wonder how the Nationals feel right now.
Yeah, you'd have to ask Sonia, Nats fan. She comments, and she's a big supporter of the page. But yeah, I always remind her because she'll like comment about some things, and I'm just like, you guys just won a ring, okay? Stop. 2019, you won your ring and you tore it down, but you know what? You got your ring.
Yes.
Which is probably for the best because there's not a lot of repeats in this sport. The Cubs, the Royals, there was no repeat.
Yeah, that's true.
And my biggest loser is the Dodgers as of right now. Chances are the Dodgers will make some kind of moves because of the Dodgers. And if not, they'll probably find a peanut vendor who is a former Cholo. And he'll come by with like his face tattoos and he'll start striking people out left and right. And he's going to win a Cy Young next year. And we're going to be like, where did Pablo Sanchez come from?
Not Pablo Sanchez, the legend?
Yeah, I know. Backyard baseball. I did that reference on purpose.
The baseball legend?
I'm happy you guys brought that up because there's at least 12 people who just unsubscribe and think I'm racist. But no, what I'm saying is like the Dodgers are like the Patriots. Like they get these guys who no one's ever heard of, or they're like these practice squad guys or these underutilized guys, and they make them into stars. I mean, look at Justin Turner. He was not amazing with the Mets, came over, had a very good career with the Dodgers. Max Muncy was not a good Oakland A, which is crazy because normally that's what Oakland does to players. Came over to LA, has been a serviceable player. The Dodgers have a way of getting some goodness out of these guys. So we'll see what happens. But as of right now, man, they've lost their shortstop. They're not getting their star pitcher Walker Buehler back, anytime to start the season, maybe at the very end. They lost Tyler Anderson, who was a very, very, very big piece to them being so successful last year. And I don't know. They haven't brought back Justin Turner yet. They haven't replaced him yet. We'll see, man. But if the Dodgers were to go into opening day with this roster, they're in trouble. They're probably not winning that division.
Wow.
I hope not.
Yeah, on paper, it's the Padres' division to lose. But
on paper.
Yeah,
don't say that.
The Angels have won a lot of paper championships over the last couple of years.
Well,
look at 2018, man. They re-signed Upton. They signed Ohtani. They got Zach Cozart. Was that the year they signed Cody Allen also?
Yeah, I think so. It was right around there, right?
I think so.
Well, I need to check. But the point is, it's very easy to win these paper championships. It's a completely different thing to put it into practice. Cody Allen was an Angel 2019, so he's not 2018.
1 year off.
Close enough.
Well, yeah, but the Angels had a great offseason in 2018. I thought they were definitely going to make the playoffs, and it didn't happen.
It's a different time.
Absolutely.
We'll see.
Okay, I guess before we close out, any other thing you guys want to point out or anything like that? And
I mean, I would like to just say about the current pickups that we've gotten, during the Angels off season. I'm happy. I mean, you mentioned earlier, it's not really about it can be about getting the big names, but it's also about getting the right names. And I think all of our pickups so far have been the right names and provided depth for us, consistency, which is huge for us because our hitting was our issue last year. So plugging some consistent hitters into the lineup is going to be great. I would love to, like you said, pick up one more person, whether that's a relief pitcher, shortstop. We're not really sure yet. But I am very happy with our moves so far. And yeah, I'm excited. I think they were good value moves, But yeah, I'm excited for baseball. There's so many things to be excited about, so many storylines to be excited about.
Well, we also have so much off season left. So
I know.
For better or worse.
I know.
Andrew,
don't remind me.
you have any closing thoughts here?
Oh, just this is off season, blew the lid off of the free agent market. I'm so kind of in shock still.
Absolutely. Yeah, man. The stove isn't hot. The stove is literally on fire.
Literally on fire.
Yeah, it's like that episode of SpongeBob where the Krusty Krab's on fire and he's like,
yeah.
It's like that. That's Rob Manfred right now standing in front of the MLB headquarters on fire with hyperventilating.
That's so accurate.
That's such a funny visual. Just me sitting here on an airplane.
Yes. On fire. On an airplane.
On fire. There you
You probably got a fire effect you can put on there too.
Probably.
Yeah. I don't know if you want to do that on an airplane though, even virtually.
Yeah.
That just sends off bad juju into the world.
That is true.
Yeah, TSA is going to come take you away.
Yeah, exactly. The government's coming to find you, Andrew. I'm going to tell them where you live.
Hey, I'm not on the plane. You guys are the ones in trouble.
You're not on the plane. That's true.
Your voice is. I hear you.
Your voice is.
I'm the overcom or whatever.
That's even worse. They're he hacked into the speakers.
Yes.
Yeah, he's the one you really need to watch.
I love that we just ran with the plane though for the rest of the episode.
I love it.
Yeah, right. I mean, there is some other ones. So I guess while I remind you guys one last time, go ahead and follow us on all social media outlets. This one's gonna be great.
I love it. Yes.
Follow us on all social media, guys. Just type in Halos in the Infield. Make sure to give us a review. We like to hear what you guys have to say about our show and what we can do to make it better. If you hate the show, let us know why so we can try to improve it. And if not, just let us know what you like about the show. And there you go. I'm just having fun with the backgrounds now.
I love it.
Now we're under the sea.
There's some Finding Nemo stuff right there.
There you go. But yeah, guys, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the episode. I think this is the last live episode or recently recorded one we're putting out before Christmas. I know next week we're going to be having an episode where we talk about the career of Andrelton Simmons. That's already been recorded. And I try to prove to Dominic and Todd that Andrelton Simmons is a top 3 shortstop in the Angels history. Ooh. It doesn't go well for me. But and then probably Christmas week, we'll just release an old interview that we've had in the past, just to take the week off for Christmas. So on behalf of all of us here, have a happy holidays, a Merry Christmas. be safe, enjoy family time. If you guys are going to be, alone due to work or whatever, we'll definitely keep you guys in our thoughts. Make sure to follow us, and we'll keep you guys busy if you guys are alone during the holiday season. Sully, where can they find you?
You can find me on TikTok, Twitter, Instagram. Just type in Swilly and I'll pop up.
All right, and you can find the rest of us miserable in New York. Oh wait, that's just me. Bye.
Bye.